All right, we've got 5 minutes after. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us today. We greatly appreciate you being a part of this vendor session that we have for you today. We're hoping by the end of today that you will no longer be on the pending vendor list, but will begin sending your information in so we can have you set up as approved vendors. And we're going to give you a lot of great information here. So thanks again for joining, and we'll go ahead and get started. Just to let everyone know, if you haven't already done so, make sure that your microphone is on mute and that this training is being recorded today so I can provide the YouTube link as well as the slides to each and every one of you. So, again, we'll go ahead and get started. On our agenda for the day, I'm going to talk to you about knowing the difference, the invite message that you received from the Army CA team, the Army CA Memorandum of Agreement, finding your credentials, creating an account, creating an application, the certificate of completion template, the credentialing management tab, keeping up with your application, the PM update, and the recap. And just so everyone is aware of the CA team, our boss, Mr. Steve Clare, our program manager, Miss Sophia Sweeney, our team, Dottie Heffelfinger, Kristen Clark, John Crabtree. We all work hard to make sure that this program keeps running, and this program keeps running mainly because of vendors like you. So thank each and every one of you for taking the time to be a part of this today. So we're going to start out here with knowing the difference. You may hear a lot of times where individuals refer to, I'm a part of the Army Cool program, and that's not exactly correct. The Army Cool site is where all of the credentials are held. There's over 1,600 different credentials that are listed on the Army Cool site. It is a repository for all of those credentials. So think of it as a library that holds all of the credentials that soldiers can go in and see and select that they want to pursue. The Army Credentialing Assistance Program is where when the soldiers are ready, they will transfer over and they'll start their CA process to be able to get funded for these credentials. The Army Credentialing Assistance Program is what you are a part of as well as a vendor. The Army Ignited site is what everyone uses to work in CA. So for the soldier, when they're ready to go over to Army CA and start that funding process, they're going to go into Army Ignited and submit their CA request. For you as a vendor, it's where you're going to update your information, make sure that your POC information is updated, your prices are updated, all of the training or credentials that you may offer will be listed on your application here. We'll get into that here a little bit later so you can see those items. Just as a side note, real quick before we go forward, if anyone has questions during this training, we will have time for Q&A at the end. But if you have questions during the training, please feel free to type those into the chat box or raise your hand, and one of my team members will stop me to let me know so we can get that question answered for you. So the invite email, when you are first set up as a vendor for the Army CA program, many of you have probably already seen this email because as soon as we create the account for you, we send this email directly out to you. And it basically contains how to set up a cage code, the vendor MOA, your credentialing assistance Q&A, and there's a few other items in there. Make sure that you read this email thoroughly and then begin the process. The first thing we're going to need from you is sending back that MOA to us. It tells you how to set up the MOA, the things that need to be put into the MOA. Once you've sent that MOA back over to us, then you're ready to start your application. Now, just talking about the MOA, make sure you read, sign, and return it. Ensure that your vendor name is included in the top paragraph. In the signature block, you want to make sure that the signee's name and signature are in the signature block. You want to make sure their title, it needs to be either your CEO, your president, your owner, someone who is able to make a legal decision on behalf of your company on that app on the MOA block. Make sure that the name of the vendor and the date are also included in the signature block. Your signature block is at the bottom left hand side of the MOA. Do not use DocuSign. Our leadership cannot sign the document if you use DocuSign. So make sure that you can wet sign the document, or if you have the ability to digitally sign the document and then send it back to us as a PDF so we can send it to our leadership and go ahead and get that signature done on it. Return the MOA to the Army CA team, and once you've done that, you can begin your application. When you send your application in to us, once it's reviewed and has been approved, we will send you a signed copy of your MOA back to you in your approval email. So the Army Cool site, we talked about that in the very first, that repository that everyone's going to go to. This is the link to the Army Cool site. And again, this will be available to you at the end. I will make sure that the video as well as the slides are sent out to you. But the Army Cool site should be your first stop when starting your application. Why? Because you want to make sure that the credential that you're going to put on your application is listed in Army Cool. If the credential has not been approved to be on the Army Cool site, it's not going to populate in Army Ignited. So make sure this is your first stop when you're going in and doing your application. At the very bottom here, you see where it says full credential search. You'll select that and you can see all the information that's been put in there, all the different credentials that have been approved. It gives you a search option. You can type in the credential name and see if it populates. If it does, you're good to go. Just make sure when you put it into your application, it reads the exact same way that it does in Army Cool. Also, there's another tab that's down here, the Credentialing Assistance tab. Once you become an approved vendor, we're going to send you a link to this every month because it's going to show the approved vendor list. It's going to show the credentials that have been added and removed. It has a CA process guide, not only for vendors, but for soldiers. So if you have a soldier that says, hey, I'm kind of new to this, I don't know what I'm doing, is there something you might be able to help me with? You have the ability to look at the soldier's process guide and say, well, hey, have you started with this, and have you looked at this, or have you done this to help your process along? They should be looking at this as well and going in and looking at that process guide. But if, in instance, they are unable to, or they haven't done so and they need a little extra help, we greatly appreciate the help from the vendors to be able to help them look at that and understand what they should be doing. Again, here, when you get into the Army Cool site, if you wouldn't mind putting your microphone on mute for us, please. Thank you. Once you get into the Army Cool site and you're into that search, or that full credential search, again, right here, there's a bar right here that'll allow you to type it in. You'll see down here that you have all the credentials. At that time, when I took this picture, there were a little over 1,500. Now it's over 1,600. So the credential list is growing day by day. So keep an eye on it, constantly stay up to date with it. Make sure that your credential is approved still. We do that monthly check with all the vendors to make sure that their credentials are still active, and if not, they go in and remove it off of their applications. Navigating Army Ignited. You're going to navigate to the Army Ignited website, www.armyignited.com. The best browsers that we've seen to use are Microsoft Edge, Firefox, and Chrome. The Internet Explorer site is kind of iffy sometimes with the site, so we just advise individuals to try one of these first if you're having issues with Internet Explorer. Click the Get Started button on the home page, and it's going to take you to create an account with login.gov. Now, if you already have a login.gov account, we highly recommend you use that account that you already have. Don't recreate the wheel. But if you have not already had a previous account, you're going to confirm your email and select the multi-factor authentication method. For non-government individuals, you're going to use your phone number. And if you are government, then it'll allow you to use your CAT card and your information there. Continue following the on-screen prompts. If you've previously logged in, again, you can log in with your current account. Make sure you don't recreate another one. To become a vendor, you must first create that account. And again, Microsoft Edge and Chrome we found are the ones that work the best for creating your account. You're going to go in, you'll click the site, you'll see the number one there where it says get started. And the number two is that login.gov, and three is putting in your email address for login.gov for that authentication factors. You're going to want to check your email box because it's going to send you an email, kind of like what it shows there, with a link to confirm your email address. Once you've done that, you'll go in and confirm your email. So you'll start putting in that authentication and everything. It's going to ask you to create a password. Make sure you create a strong password for the site, something that you know you'll remember. It also gives you the options here. You see number 7, where you'll put your phone number for security codes and text to be sent to you. You can do that as well. And then you're going to select continue. Number 9 here, once you put in your phone number, you'll have it send you a code and it'll send you an authentication code. When you get that code, you'll pull it in and then it'll take you up here. You see right here it says one-time security code. Each time it'll give you a new code to go through and submit back to us. When you get that code, put it in, it'll give you the agree and continue. So once you've done that and you've set up the account, you'll get this message here. Congratulations, you've successfully created your login.gov account. It'll show everything there that you have access to, i.e. your account, if you need to update your emails or edit your password or delete an account, your two-factor authentication methods, your connected accounts, and your history. So all of that will be available to you, as well as customer support if you need help with FAQs in the Help Center. Now, once you've done that, you've already got that login.gov done, you're going to enter your email and your password, and you're going to select sign in. And it's going to bring you here where it says request a user account. Now, this is highly important because you have to set up your own personal user account in Army Ignited. When you do that, it's going to have you create a snow ticket. You're going to see a sign that says create a case as a guest user. When you create your snow ticket, there's 5 important sections right here that you need to make sure you're paying attention to. Number 1 is the subject. It's going to be new vendor requests. Number 2, the case type is going to be the roles request. Number 3 is the subcategory vendor for CA program. Number 4, if there's other pertinent information we need to know, i.e. the URL for your company, the name of your POC, phone numbers, email address for anyone else that may be involved, any pertinent information that you feel that we need to know, put that in part 4. And then part 5, you're going to hit select. Excuse me, submit. So for additional resources on the Army Ignited page, we're going to have you go to the cool site and make sure you review the Army vendor CA process guide. For those who just joined us, please make sure your mics are on mute. And then if for some reason you are unable to find what you're looking for in the vendor CA process guide, feel free to contact us. This is our email address, and this will be provided to you as well at the end. But this is our email address. You can send your questions to us via there as well.
Hey, Russell.
All right.
Hey,
Hey,
Russell.
Dottie.
There's just a couple comments in the chat if you wanted to address those.
Absolutely.
Michael is asking if there's a step-by-step guide or PDF. So, Michael, what kind of step-by-step were you referring to? Like how to create an account? I'm not sure what he means by that, but hopefully he'll answer me soon. And then Tanya, she said, I think this refers to creating a vendor account. She said the system will not allow me to create a vendor account. So any suggestions on that? Can she create a snow ticket without being a vendor yet? As a guest?
Absolutely. So, yeah, so you should be able to go into the website. If you're unable to create a vendor account, give us uh, shoot us an email. We'll try to figure out what's going on. If for some reason that you can't go in and create the snow ticket or the system's blocking you or something, we will actually create the snow ticket for you, and then we will send you the case number. That way you have it for reference, and then the technical team will reach out to you. And as far as for Michael, if you're looking for a step by step, if you're talking about the things that I just went through there, that is included on the credentialing assistance tab under Army Cool. And we'll make sure you have that information to be able to get there as well toward the end of the briefing. You have anything else there, Dottie?
Yes, Michael said yes, creation and following steps. So you already addressed that. Melody previously submitted MOA, haven't received any feedback or returned agreement.
Okay, so if you have submitted your MOA to us, then we've set it up for our leadership. So the next thing that you probably need to do is start your application. You will receive a signed copy of your MOA back once we've reviewed and approved your application. We'll send that to you in the approval email. Did that answer your question, Dottie?
Yes, she said thank you.
No worries.
Oh, hey, Rachel, this is Daniel. Can I ask another question?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Rachel, I submit a application sometime I think in November last year already. I even did receive a response from you or either your team providing a link to the application. The email asked me to complete the application I submitted. I click on the link. The link was broken. It didn't link to the application. And I logged back into my account. I couldn't even find my application in my account. So basically, it seems that
Okay.
I didn't do anything.
Got you. So here's what I want you to do. And I will provide my email address in the chat box before we're done today. But I would like for you to shoot me an email or shoot an email to the team org box and let us take a look at what's going on with your account, and we'll help you get it situated.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, Russia. Yep.
You're very welcome. Anyone else, Sir Dottie?
We're good for right now.
All right. So when notified to start your application process, again, after you submitted that MOA to us, you should go ahead and start your application. You'll log into Army Ignited, and once you hit get started and log in, you'll see here where it says start vendor onboarding. You'll also be able to select up by your name, and you'll see there's how-to guides and everything there. But we highly recommend that you go to the Army Cool and view the guides and everything under the Credentialing Assistance tab, as those are updated more frequently for you. So make sure you check those out under the Army Cool tab.
Hey, Russell.
Yes, ma'am.
Michael is asking, what site do we go check the status of our account? He submitted an application.
You submitted, shoot me an email and I will look and see what's going on with your application. Because if you look in the system, if you have done an application, if you haven't hit submit, it won't come directly to us. So it may stay showing you as pending. But just shoot us an email and let us take a look at it for you so we can figure out exactly where your application and everything is. We good there?
Okay, I'm gonna put our emails in the box here in a second. Tanya wants to know how long it takes the application process. How long does it take for the application process? And onboarding date says 8. So Tanya, are you already an approved vendor? Or you just submitted your application? Okay, so onboarding, she said, it said my onboarding date is 5/18/22. How long does the application process take? Have you submitted your application? Okay, so when you log into Army Ignited, does it say in progress or pending? You've entered all your, okay, in progress. So you're gonna have to submit like that edit button and then submit it. And then it'll go to pending and it'll come to us. If it's still in progress, we haven't received it yet. Does that make sense?
Right. We can't do anything with it if it's still showing in progress.
Okay, yeah, she says thank you. We haven't received a request for MOA signature and submission. Should we expect the email about MOA after the session? This is with Project Control Academy.
If you have not received that email, I would definitely make sure that that email is sent back out to you. If you like, I will include that email verbiage or an example of the email verbiage as an attachment to the information that I send out if you don't have it. We good there?
Generally speaking, how long should we, from submission to approval, how long does it take typically?
So I'll tell you this, and I'll give you a prime example of something that happened yesterday. I had two vendors submit their MOAs yesterday, then went in and did their applications. And when I came in this morning, all of them were updated and they're approved vendors. We go in every day and we review applications. So if you're sitting in the pending screen with your application, we review it as soon as we see it, and then you'll be notified if you're approved or not. If you're not approved or if your application is rejected, we will send you an email to let you know why it was rejected. That way you can fix it, submit it back, and then we can get you approved. But we do a pretty decent job of making sure that we're reviewing and updating applications daily. So it's not a long wait process at all. If again, once you submit that MOA, as soon as we see it, we send it to our leadership for signature. As soon as you send it to us, start your application. We see your application when it comes in. We verify everything. If you're good to go and you meet all the requirements, then we will send you the approval email with a copy of your signed MOA attached to it. Did that answer your question, sir?
Yeah, I started this process like the end of last year, and I kind of got frustrated with the Army Ignited site, and so I'm not sure at this point if I have my MOA on file, or if I just started to try the process without sending the MOA back. I think I sent it in, but it's been 6 months since I've even tried this process.
No problem. Shoot me an email. We'll take a look at it for you and we'll get you squared away.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, one more, Russell. Marcy wants to know, she said, I haven't yet received the first email you mentioned in order to get started. Who will send that to me?
Marcy, if you send us an email to the box, so I have your email address, I will send it out to you once we're complete. Are we good there?
Yeah, she said, thanks. Great. Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, so now that you selected vendor onboarding, it's going to be time to start your application, and there are 4 key parts to your application that you need to review. The first part is your vendor information. You want to make sure that your vendor name, your vendor URL, your address, your city, state, zip, country, and how many years you've been in business are listed on there, as well as your primary vendor POC. It is a mandatory requirement that your company has been in business for at least 2 years to be able to participate in the Army CA program. There's no waiver to that. For your primary vendor information, you want to make sure that it's listing your email address, it's listing your contact number, or the information we're going to need to get you squared away. And this is what you're going to see on that first section. Again, your vendor name, your website, your address, your city, state, your zip, country, how many years you've been in business, then your primary vendor information. Part 2 of the application is going to be your payment section. So it's going to require you to update to us your federal tax ID information, your cage code information. We don't provide your cage code. You have to go to sam.gov and get that. We will send that out in the original invite email. If you have not already seen it, shoot us an email. We'll get that over to you. Your cage code expiration date, access funding questions. There's required questions that you have to answer there. Your primary funding and alternate funding POC. If possible, we highly recommend that you submit a individual for primary and alternate. At minimal, if you have like an office that does finance and everything and deals with your payment, designate one individual from that office to be the primary, and then if you have to put the office function as the alternate funding PLC, so our finance team knows who to speak to when they're reaching out to make payments. And this
Hey,
is what
Russ.
that's gonna. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just want to address this one real quick with Shannon. So she asked, are we still allowing membership organizations? USPA submitted our application last year after being removed as a vendor, and we were denied because we require membership. But then we received an invite to this call. So I don't know if you remember, USPA is the Parachute
Yep,
Association.
Parachute.
Yeah, which
Yep.
we don't have the credentials anymore.
Yeah, so you're still listed on our potential vendor list. If USPA does ever return as an option for soldiers to pursue, we will start loading USPA credentials back onto the site. If you'd like to still go through the vendor process and set up, you can. If not, you don't have to at this time. If you want to stay on the vendor list, let us know. If not, we can definitely remove your account or remove your email address. That way, you're not getting these constant emails from us. If that'll help you.
Yeah, that definitely helps. We would love to be listed as a vendor, but as far as I know, once we submitted our application, it was denied because the United States Parachute Association requires that the soldiers like have a membership in our organization, which I think we were told at the time kind of removes us from being a vendor. So we're just a little bit confused because we would love to be a vendor, but I don't know if you changed that policy because we do require that membership.
So the membership, because the membership is required by USPA, we would be able to honor that membership with USPA as other agencies have memberships that come with them as well. However, until the credential list back up on the site, like I said, we can create your vendor account and have it ready to go in the event that it ever comes back. Matter of fact, you already have a designated vendor account created for you already. But as far as like an application and everything, there would be no reason for you to go through and do that right now until that's been added back to the site.
Okay, I'll just email you because I'm a little confused. I don't want to take up your time here, but is it okay to just reach out to you directly and we can discuss that so I can understand that better? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Anything else on there right now, so Dottie?
We're good right now.
All right. So on the part 2 part, again, you'll see your federal tax ID information, your cage code right there that you get from sam.gov, the cage code expiration date. Each one of these questions are required for the vendor to approve of, i.e., Army U will not fund training and exams together unless the exam is free with the training. I'll explain with you how to do that in just a little bit. Will you comply with this? Payments will only be made by the Access Army U Finance Department via government credit cards, which means the soldiers should not be paying you directly. Access will make payments on behalf of the soldier, as it says there. Will you comply with this? And then Army U requires a refund only to the Army should the soldier be placed on a deployment orders in emergency situation. So if for some reason the soldier gets orders to deploy, or they're PCSing, or they have a family emergency, the soldier has to submit a withdrawal request to us, but they do not get money directly back from you. If money has to be returned or any portion of money has to be returned, we will reach out to you directly and advise you of what you need to do. But if a soldier says, hey, I don't want to take this course anymore, or I just don't like this course anymore, that's not how the refund process goes. They have to submit for withdrawal, and it has to come directly from the soldier. So you'll see also here, and it kind of carries over onto the second part here, your primary payment POC, same information required there as on the primary point of contact itself, and then your alternate POC is the same. So make sure that you filled out that information before you send this back over to us. Part 3, requirements. The certificate of completion is a requirement for the Army CA program. As a matter of fact, it's identified in the MOA as a requirement that the vendor has to provide and upload a certificate of completion for the soldier. Our recommendation when doing that is as soon as a course or an exam ends and you know that soldier has a score report or a pass or fail, you upload that certificate of completion for them. We have a template here. I think it's on the next slide for you. Or one of the next slides that you can use from our end. We'll send that back out to you. If you have your own version, as long as you meet the identified items that we show on there, you're good to go. The next part is the accrediting and approving authorities. This is required to be filled out, but it is okay if you're marking no on some of these, and I'll show you that example here in a second. Vendor URLs and files to be uploaded. If there's a listing on there that says URL, please put a URL link in there. At times we found that the site will not save your application if it does not have the URL in there. So just be safe. If it has a spot to fill out anywhere on the application, don't leave it blank. And again, this is that certificate of completion that's required. You'll see these items here. This is what I was saying. It's okay if they're marked no, as long as you complete this part. If you're a part of the VA or Department of Labor or Department of Education, you're more than welcome to mark yes here, but if not, that's okay. And then the rest of it here, you'll see where it says provide a list of courses. This is where you can put your syllabus right here, as well as your vendor URL. If you should have statistics, and this is a requirement that just came about this year, that if you have soldiers that have taken your courses or just civilian students that have taken your courses, pass fail statistics, or if you are an authorized training provider for a company, say you are with offering PMP exams and you're authorized as an ATP by PMI, then you can upload your authorization letter and information there. And then, of course, if you have statistics on individuals that have been hired after they completed your training or that your training has led to the hiring of individuals, we ask you insert that there as well. Here's an example of the credential pass-fail verification form. On this form, the main things that we need you to make sure that you filled out is the name of the credential, the credentialing body, the number of individuals rolled, and the pass percentage. You don't have to put the month and year there, but as long as those 4 items are identified, you're good to go. I think we just had a couple new people join. If you wouldn't mind, please put your microphones on mute. All right, so part 4, there are 2 parts to the part 4 that you need to update and review. And we're going to talk about part 1 here, and it's adding new trainings. You're going to add if it is a training or exam, or the name of the training or exam. You're going to list if it is training or if it is the exam itself. The associated credential name. Remember where I was telling you about how you needed to go onto Army Cool and look at the full credential list first? You need to go on here and look and see if that credential is there, because that name has to match what is on the Army Cool page. That if it's online, in person, or it could be a hybrid, you could offer both options for individuals, the location, and then of course provide training agenda and a syllabus there. Get here, you'll see what that looks like. You have the training or exam name, if it's a training or exam, the credential that it's associated with, the format, location. If you have any other information or other agendas or a syllabus, you can add those here as well.
Hey, Russell, could I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Thank you for your patience going through all of this. This is very helpful. It's actually back on part 3. I'm actually on that page right now, and I've gotten stuck with a couple of, I think, system issues, but on the requirements page, it does not let me do anything on it. And I've refreshed, relogged in several times, but it just seems to be stuck. Will not let me click the check boxes or enter anything in the URLs.
Let's take a look here. Let me go back a couple screens. Okay, you're talking about radio. No, that's part 4. Sorry. Okay, you're talking about here?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
So the radio buttons above that, or the previous screen maybe you have for the yes nos for certificates.
okay.
It's unresponsive, and entering in the URLs for that screen you just had, unresponsive. And I've had that kind of through this process. It's been kind of tough to get through it. It's not seamless, but I don't know what to do at this point because it won't let me interact with the page.
So let me ask you this. On the previous section on part 2, did you fill out the URLs and everything, or did you fill out all the information on here?
I did. Yeah, all of that is good. And it let me pass the payment section, so it shows the check mark completed.
But the radio dials and everything on here are not letting you access it.
That's correct.
Okay, what we may need to do with you, we'll schedule with you a time to do a personal Teams call, and we'll walk through and see what's going on with you so we can see your screen. And if need be, we'll make sure we send something to the technical team so they can help you get past this part.
All right, I'll send you an email. Thanks, Russell.
You're welcome. All right.
Okay, Russell, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
Tanya wants to know, does this apply to degree programs?
So the Army CA program is not associated with degree programs. So if you're looking like to add bachelor or associate degree programs, something like that, Army CA is different from that. Those actually sit on the TA side of the house. However, if you offer courses that may be within those programs that lead to the credential, you can add those courses individually in, but you cannot add a degree program into the Army CA program. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm taking way too long to type. This is Tanya Higgins. Thank you so much for this training. I've been trying to get us approved for tuition assistance for over a year now. Because there's no one to really talk to or phone numbers or anything like that. And so this is just for individual courses.
So this is for credentials and licensures for the Army CA side. But if you'll shoot us an email, we'll see if we can get you in touch with someone from the TA side.
Okay. All right. So this probably would not apply to us because we're a university. So these courses, this would just be for like if there's an exam attached to a course.
Well, no, and I'll tell you, we have several universities that offer courses that go toward the credential. So let's say you have a degree program for, let's say, organizational management. And within those courses, some of the courses within organizational management align to what's required to sit for the project management professional certification. You can take those courses and you can highlight just a random course name 101, and you can put that course itself in there, and the soldier can see that they can use that course as training to go toward their knowledge for PMP as long as it aligns.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Is there anything else sitting out there right now, Donnie?
Yes, Nancy says, or asks, is there a button to either view or edit? It's grayed out on the view mode.
Okay, so if you have the option to edit, that's what you should be doing in your application. You want to edit the application, and then once you're complete with setting everything in, you're going to hit submit. That way it comes to us. Because if you don't hit submit, it'll stay as pending on your side, and we won't be able to see it. Once it transfers to in progress, then you know that we have it. So make sure that you're hitting the edit button. Did that answer your question?
No response yet. Rick wants to know, how do we make sure he is on the mailing list?
Shoot me or shoot the team email box a email to let us know that you should be included on the email list, and we will make sure that you are on the pending vendor email list, and hopefully we can go ahead and get you squared away today, and you can go ahead and submit your information over. That way we can put you on the approved vendor list. That way you have contact when we do things with the approved vendors as well.
I think we're good for right now.
All right. So on part two of section 4, this is where you get to go in and add the trainings that you offer and add the costs associated with them. So on part 4, you're going to see where it says the cost type or the exam or training, the item name, the item the item provided by vendor, yes or no, the number ISBN, and I'll get to that in a second, the cost, quantity, URL. Now, if a training or exam is included within a bundle, you need to make sure that on the very first line, the very top thing that you list, your total price is there. Everything else that is included within that bundle, i.e., books, study materials, if you offer exam vouchers, if you offer web link content, any of that is going to be itemized below, and the price is going to be 0. So remember, the total cost is at the top. Everything else included in it is itemized, and 0 is the dollar value for it. You want to make sure that your application and the itemized price quote that you give the soldiers match exactly, because when our team gets it and they're reviewing it, they're going to go into your profile, they're going to look at your application, and if the two don't match, they're going to disapprove it, and it's going to hold the soldier back that much further. So make sure your price quote and your application match. Just so you know, and we were talking about this earlier, you cannot list an exam on your with a training bundle unless the price is 0. If you do not offer an exam or you don't offer the exam voucher, just don't put the exam on there. That way the soldier knows they need to look somewhere else to be able to complete that. And you'll see here, and we're going to go over the next couple screens. I'm going to show you here of what all of that's going to look like for you. So right here, you see that they're offering the exam as the cost type. It's for the Senior Human Resources Management Certified Professional. Yes, this item is provided by the vendor. The cost is $300, and then down there they would put the URL for where if an individual was coming in, they could click on that link and be able to go to their website to see where they can match this up. Now, this is a training bundle that offers an exam voucher. So this is the training, the cost type. You see here the total price here is $250. Yes, provided by vendor. And they also provide the exam voucher. So yes, provided by vendor, and that cost right there is $0.00 because it's included in that total price. Here's an example of if you had to list no. So say you offer training like this one, the automotive brake systems, but the book you do not offer. The soldier has to go somewhere else to find that book. You're going to list that as no. You're going to list the item name that they should be looking for, the ISBN number, the cost, and there's a link down here now as well for the URL. So if you say, okay, well, you can find this book on Amazon, make sure they have the link to where they can find it at on Amazon. Here's an example of a CDL application. So you see this is training for a Class A CDL program. The total price is $4,000. Yes, the book is provided here, $0, 0 cents. And they also have where they listed application fee for both the DOT physical and the drug test. Those are both $0, and they're listed there as well. This is for an airplane instrument rating, so flight training with check ride exam. So if you offer the check ride exam, it's going to be listed as an exam. You're going to list it at $0, 0 cents. But again, here you see the total price is up top, $4,430. But you also see right here they have a book that they do not offer. So that book, training materials, it would have the ISBN number, the cost, the quantity, and the URL for them as well. This is for an airframe and power plant example. So if you're doing the FAA A&P mechanic test, you want to put the total price up there, put the book information. Yep, you offer that book, you offer this book, you offer this book. For the exams, if you were listing the exams, you can only list one exam voucher in a training bundle. So you would put the exam that they would start with would be the general. You'll put that in there, and then the other exam vouchers, you would list those independently in the application. That way they can go back and select each one of those exams and do a CA request to have those funded. Part 4 is usually the most difficult part that we run into for our vendors. So if you find that you're having issues with it, it's okay. You're not the first one. Just reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to help you with it. Remember, bundling is okay for training and exams as long as the exam cost is $0. If you do not offer the exam, just don't put it in your application. Non-exam items such as books, study materials, practice tests can be listed as not provided by the vendor. Remember, make sure you fill out all the information of where they can find it. Remember, soldiers are only allotted $4,000 per fiscal year. So if you offer a training, say you're offering a training for commercial pilot's license, and that training cost is $12,000. You want to make sure that you break that up in phases because the soldier's only going to be able to request the exam name type one time. So if you just list it as commercial pilot's license, they're only going to be able to request that one time, and then they're going to be on the hook to find the remainder of the payment out of pocket. But if you go in there and you list it as commercial pilot's license phase 1, commercial pilot's license phase 2, etc., then the soldier can go back and request those different phases each time to continue taking that training. Here's an example, as I was telling you before, of the certificate of completion. Again, if you have a certificate that your company offers, you're more than welcome to use that as long as it identifies the soldier's name, what course or exam they took, the course start and end dates, the vendor name, their status, if they passed or failed or completed, or make sure you identify that, the signature of the representative of your company, and the date. As long as you have those items on your certificate of completion, you can use your own version, or we'll be more than happy to send this one out to you, which we will include at the end of training today. So, keeping up with your application. Every year, annually, we do a review of all of your applications. This is a good time to update your CAGE code because CAGE codes have to be updated annually. So you want to make sure that's up to date and good to go for the next calendar year. Your POC information. Sometimes we have vendors that leave or new vendors that come on board. Make sure that information is updated. Your URLs, training items, costs, anything that may have changed or needs to be updated for the new year, you can do it during this time. That's not to say that you cannot make these updates during the year, but this is the time of the year you can update it and there's no wait time. If you do it outside of this time frame, then you will have to wait 90 days to be able to put that onto your itemized price quote for soldiers. So if you know there's changes being made or you need to update costs, this is a good time to do it. If you're decreasing the cost of an item and it's outside the annual review, or you're adding a new item to your application, you do not have to wait that 90-day period. It's only for individuals that are going in and increasing the price of something that's already listed on their application where you have to wait that 90 days. See, if you change any prices, if a soldier submitted a request prior to that change, you must honor the cost that they have on their CA request. So again, that's within that 90-day window, you go in and you submit something, you say, hey, this is going to be effective on whatever 90 days out from that date is. If a soldier submits a request for that prior amount, you have to honor that request amount. Costs on applications are expected to match prices on itemized price quotes. We touched on that a little bit earlier. Just make sure when you're going through and you're doing that price quote for that soldier for the training that they're offering, you just list it exactly out as on your application. Put the total cost at the top. Every item included in that training bundle, you're going to list as $0.00. And then at the very bottom on the total, you'll put the total costs again.
Russell,
All
I have
right,
a
so we're
question.
gonna.
There's
Oh
a-
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
there's a couple questions. Katie wants to know if tools and business startup items such as websites and business cards can be added to the program cost.
Say that one more time.
Can tools and business startup items such as websites and business cards be included in a program cost?
Is that a part of the training that the soldier will receive? Is that a part of their training bundle?
So this is Katie. So we do offer business packages to all of our students. They have the
Okay.
ability to purchase that, and then so I didn't know if that was something, if a soldier decided that they wanted to get all those items, the business package as well, if that was something that could be included.
As long as it can show as relevant to that credential. So say that they're looking to, your company offers a startup or something for individuals going to business for working with project management, and that's the credential that it's tied to. As long as that information is included with the itemized price quote and on the application and identified that the soldier has the opportunity to pursue that, then yeah, it can be on there.
So I have a question about that fiscal year. My courses run quarterly starting in October. When do they need to be applying? If their fiscal year starts October 1st, how does that need to work in terms of funding and getting the funding before courses start? Do they need to wait to January because it's going to take some time for the funding to come through, or how would that work?
Well, I will tell you this year in particular, normally around the end of August time frame, end of July time frame, we shut off from the soldiers being able to go in and request new training. If they put in training that starts on 30 September or before, they're okay to pursue that. We will tell you it'll be a little bit longer this year as we're rolling from Army Ignited 1 to Army Ignited 2.0. So we're doing a lot of data updates and a lot of transfers and everything of the system for the new 2.0 version of it. So it may take a little bit longer. I would advise to tell soldiers, and we do not have a firm date as of yet for when all of this is going to be set in stone, but we would advise soldiers the closest you can get it to December, January timeframe to start, it would probably be better then. But we will let you know as well that the soldier can't put in a funding request that starts before 30 days out. So that's also a key point as well to keep in mind. that answer your question, sir?
I'm not quite sure if I caught that. So what you're saying is that if they want to start a course on October 1st, they would have had to, they would have to wait until September to submit that request, or is it too late for an October start and they should wait for our January quarter?
I'll take this, Russell.
Thanks, sir.
Yep. Who asked the question? I don't want to be rude. I forgot. Rick, there you go, Rick. So what happens is, because we do fiscal year closeouts of credentialing requests. So as Russell stated, the 31st of July is the last date soldiers can submit FY22 CA requests for those start dates that begin in FY22. He did also mention that we're going through a potential transition of systems. But in a normal year, soldiers would be going into the system on the 1st of August, and they can make requests for start dates in October. However, there is a known fiscal year funding lag. Once the budget gets approved up at the big Army level, it does take some time for that money to roll down through our headquarters and down to the GPC cardholders. So we have historically set start dates beginning after the 17th of October, because we tried it the first year of start dates earlier in October, and all those soldiers had to get rejected because we didn't have funding, and then continuing resolutions happened. So we had to do rolling rejections of those earlier start dates in October. So last year, the 17th, 18th of October worked out good for us. And so when soldiers go in and request, they can request those start dates beginning after the 17th of October. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so I think if it's going to be before the 17th of October, what I should do is tell them to apply starting October or August 1st for our January start date.
Right. Yeah. If you do have a course start date that begins earlier than the 17th of October, right, their request would get rejected. They wouldn't even get processed by us. So that your best course of action would be to select that winter course that you mentioned.
And then FY23, is that starting this October coming up?
Correct. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, boss. All right. Do you have any more questions on this,
Yeah,
Donnie?
let me look through here real quick. Where to leave off? Hold on, sorry. Okay, Andres he is asking, is the 4K annual limit or currently enlisted only, or can veterans or even other armed forces access Army Cool?
That's a great question. So the funding for Army CA is for active National Guard and Reserve soldiers. Other services have their branch of what they use their cool funds to pay for credentials. Our Army Cool is just our repository, so that's why we have Army CA, which is our funding piece. But the veterans would have to utilize their GI Bill or benefits that are offered to them through the VA, as they would not be eligible to pursue funding from Army CA. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay, one more. Marcy wants to know, when is the annual review date? And is it pegged on each vendor's approval date?
Good question. So we like to do the annual reviews. Historically, we've done them end of January, early February time frame. We try to get them done between January, February to get the annual reviews done. That way it's a fresh start to the year. All the newest information is out there, and the soldiers can utilize that at the start of the year. So it's not based off of your vendor start date. It's done annually, usually in January, February time frame.
Okay, I don't have any more questions right now, Russell.
All right. Well, I don't want you to run away, Dottie, because I was told that you get to do the PM notes today for Sophia since she's away on taking care of some other things. So I was told that you had the PM notes for today.
Yes. Are you ready for me?
I am ready. Let's go.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dottie Heffelfinger, and I'm the Education and Training Tech with the CA program. Sophia Sweeney is our program manager, and she's unable to join us today. So I'll just fill you in on a few of the topics that she wanted you guys to know. Marketing materials. We have current vendors that are still confused about this Army CA program and Army Cool. To mitigate this, please feel free to email us your flyers or links to your website, anything that you want to put on your website to advertise the CA program. Just send it to our email and let us take a look at it. And if anything needs to be changed, we can let you know about that. Installation access. We have vendors who would like to access the installations to discuss the programs with our soldiers. Though this can happen, it must be done through the proper channels. First, you must be an approved vendor before you can even request this. Even if you already have an ID card, like if you're a veteran and you have access to installations, if you want to discuss the program, you still have to go and get requested through our ESO, who is the education service officer for the installations. All the requests, you can't even request until you're an approved vendor. Once you're an approved vendor, you can go to our ServiceNow, which is a ticketing, I'm not sure how to describe it, but anyway, to get access, you would have to send a request through ServiceNow. And then once it's approved, then you'll have access to go speak to our soldiers. Let's see what else you want to talk about. We do not allow more than 3 attempts to contact a soldier, or it's considered aggressive tactic. Should this occur, we will give you a warning. If it continues to occur, then you will be removed as an approved vendor with the CA program. And the CA policy is downloaded on our Army Cool website. I think Russell gave that to you earlier in the briefing, along with other documents and announcements from the CA program. So please feel free to save that page to your favorites. And lastly, and there's nothing she wrote there. So I'm just going to end that with, we sincerely hope that you consider onboarding and to become an approved vendor. We have a great team here and we all work well together, and we'd love for you to be part of helping our soldiers continue their education and acquiring new skills. And we appreciate your time today.
Dottie, I think you did an awesome job there.
I have a question about that soldier contact.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
So when we talk to somebody, we'll give them some advisement, and then we'll put them on a newsletter, and it gives them career tips and stuff like that. But it's an ongoing monthly thing, and so I don't want to do that if we'll get rejected because they get 3 newsletters emailed to them. Is that what you're talking about?
No, what she's referring to there is we've had vendors in the past that have been very aggressive in their tactics of trying to contact soldiers. Some to the point where we've had where individuals were waiting outside posts or waiting outside a military installation, trying to pass out flyers for their companies and stuff like that. And we're just saying tactics like that, more than 3 contacts with them. So if you send out an email to them and then you try to put them on a call list or something else and they are not responding to you, you cannot continue to pursue them. It is the soldier who needs to go out to you and say, hey, I want to pursue this course, or I want to take this course. And actually, and this is a good point to make for all of you. The soldiers should be contacting you before ever creating their CA request, because they're going to be contacting you to get that itemized price quote. So that shows us that they have made contact with you and they actually are aware of, okay, there are courses going on at this time that I want to engage with, rather than them just creating a request and then our vendor saying, wait a minute, we don't even know who this person is. So the soldier has to contact you before they're able to proceed forward with their CA request. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, they would definitely contact us. We sit and talk, and if they want to be added to our newsletter, that's okay. I think I heard you say, right?
Yes. If they say, hey, yes, I want to be included in this, and yes, that's okay.
All right, thanks. Cheers.
You're welcome. Any
Sorry
other
about
questions right now?
Connection.
That's okay.
I'm back now.
I know y'all are going through some bad weather out there today. So just so our vendors know, our team is a good bit of our team is located at Fort Knox in Kentucky, and then we have team members that are here in Leavenworth, Kansas. So we, again, like Dottie said, we work great together between the two teams. We make sure that everything that we can provide to not only the soldiers but you as our vendors, because you are a part of the CA family as well. We make sure that each and every one of you are, taken care of and you have the things you need. So, like she said, we really hope that you will join us and continue forth. All right. So, the recap, we went over knowing the difference between the three sections of Army Cool, Army CA, and the Army Ignited system. We talked about the invite email that you'll receive. We talked about Army CA Memorandum of Agreements, finding your credentials, creating an account, creating an application, the certificate of completion template. Oh, I did not touch on your credential management tab. I apologize. I'll just let you know real quick. Once you create an account as a vendor, you will have access to what's called the credentialing management tab. That tab will let you see soldiers that have been moved from our team over to finance for payment. So you will not be able to see them until they're moved to finance. But after that, that's where you'll go in to put their certificate of completion. You'll go in to check and see who's been paid for and so forth. So you will have access to that. We also talked about keeping up with your application and PM updates. Now, again, these are some great links and emails that each and every one of you will have access to when we send you the slide. Of course, submitting a snow ticket. That's what ServiceNow is, our site that we use if you have questions or concerns or to request roles within an account or information like that. You'll do that through the ServiceNow side of the house. Also, if you're unable to submit a snow ticket, that is our email address for our team email box. To locate the list of credentials from the Army Cool site, you have the link right here. The credentialing assistance page in Army Cool. This is where, again, you'll see the vendor access guide, the vendor roles creation information, the soldier account creation or CA request information. All of that is located right there on this page. So definitely utilize that. Like Dottie said, save that page, put it in your favorites so you have access to it. Guidelines on D&D logos. So I'm sure some of you may be wanting to add military logos to your websites and everything like that. Make sure you review the DoD guidance on that first before you do so. And like Dottie also said, if you're creating slides or creating brochures or information to give out, please make sure that you send that in to us first before you release it. That way you get the green light and you're good to go. Installation access, again, you're going to do that through ServiceNow. You have to be an approved vendor before you can do that. And then as far as your cage code, we do not control your cage code. That's on sam.gov. This is the link there for it, and that's also included in your initial vendor email that's sent to you. And if you need that sent back to us, let us know, and we'll resend that back over to you. All right, so we're going to wrap things up here, but we're going to give each and every one of you the opportunity to ask any other questions that you may have at this time that we can get answered. And again, when we click off of this, we hope that each and every one of you, if you haven't already done so, you go ahead and run and get that MOA sent back to us, and then start your applications, because our goal here today is to remove every one of you off of the pending list over to the approved vendor list, and put that many more resources in the hand of our soldiers. So to that, I will turn it over to you. If you have a question, you're more than welcome to raise your hand and come up on the net. We'll be happy to answer them for you. Any questions out there in the field that we may not have touched on? Or Dottie, are you seeing anything in the chat box?
Not right now. Just thank you.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Thank each and every one of you for spending your time today and spending your afternoon with us. We greatly appreciate it. We hope each and every one of you have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend ahead of you. Again, if you have any questions, there's our email right there. You can email us directly. We'll be more than happy to help you out and get you situated. And we hope each and every one of you will become an approved vendor very soon. If nothing else, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Thank you for what you do, and welcome to the Army CA family.
Thank you very much. Can I ask one last question? I'm in Kansas City. I've been trying to do this for about 2 years. Can I come to Leavenworth?
So we are still currently teleworking. The whole team is teleworking.
Okay.
As far as contact, that's why we're doing things through Teams and items like that, as the entire team is still teleworking.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Great. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you. You have a wonderful afternoon.
Thanks. This was excellent.
Too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm leaving, Russell.
Thanks for your help. I greatly appreciate it.
All right, see y'all later. Have a good weekend.
Alrighty.
Happy Father's
You
Day
too.
too.
Thank you.
All right, see you later.
All right. Hey, make sure you tell your husband from us that happy Father's Day as well.
I will. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye.